Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is your instructor for the course, Dr. Matthew W.I. Dunn. What you're seeing now is my, computer screen. I'm using a really handy and helpful and excellent software called Screencast-O-Matic. There it is, which I bought, but you can get for free, and but you don't get unlimited recording, which is why I bought it. But if you get it for free, it's like half an hour or something. But it's really helpful, especially for online courses. This is going to be a talk, not really a lecture so much, but a talk about the syllabus. I will attach it to the email that I'm sending you today. This is our first day, beginning day of the course. And which course is this? Well, let me open my PDF file of the syllabus, Christianity in the Contemporary Era, as you can see. Make it bigger if you can't see. There we go. TH120, St. Peter's University. Make sure that you are in the right course. Presumably, well, anyways, just make sure, check the information, make sure that you registered for this course, that it is in fact the correct course that you are registered for. This course starts today, the 6th of July, and goes for about a month and a half until August 13th. It is online, which means that there are no classroom instructions, there's no class lectures, you don't meet on campus anywhere, which you probably know. And there's my name, which I already told you, Dr. Matthew W.I. Dunn. I have a PhD from the University of St. Michael's College, which is up in Toronto, if you're curious. And yes, it is legit. If you want to check it up on the internet, it is an actual brick and mortar institution. I didn't just, send $50 in the mail or through PayPal to get a doctorate from, like, I don't know, the University of New Caledonia or something. It is a legitimate, although it is a Canadian university, so in the eyes of some of you, it might not be that legitimate. Just kidding. Well, maybe I'm not kidding. Yeah. Maybe for some of you it's like, yeah. My email address with St. Peter's is there for you to contact me, and any and all contact with me should be through that email address. Since I'm not giving out any other contact information, I don't see how. But if you were able maybe to track me down through the internet, Google knows all these days. But nevertheless, that I should be contacting you through St. Peter's email, and you should be contacting me. I shouldn't be getting something through your iPhone or your cell phone or another email account. Okay, I shouldn't be, all things being equal, but I understand that emergencies happen. Nevertheless, I put that in there. Now, before I go any further, well, actually, no, I'll finish this up and then I'll go. I have a YouTube channel which I set up, which is very helpful for uploading videos of lectures that I give and things that I want to show you. It's really the only way to, I think, do things on an online course, since we're not actually meeting. And a lot of the videos that I take of my lectures and stuff are just way too long to send to you via email, so it's just easier to, I've found it, it's easier to upload them to YouTube. So I mean, if you just highlight and copy the address here, does it allow you to go right there? It's internet search by Google. When it gives you all these other things. I don't want any of this stuff. I gotta get rid of it. I actually bought this, so I should be able to get rid of it. Well, whatever. No, actually, no. This is the PDF thing. No, I do not. I'm just rambling, so you can ignore me. Anyways, I'll just copy it. And if I go into Google and paste and go, it should take you to my channel. There we are. Where you will see that I've already uploaded a whole bunch of videos, a number of them for other courses already, some which I'll be reusing, some which I just wanted to have on the internet for myself because they were either so difficult to find or they weren't the way I wanted them to be. See, a lot of these are just other lectures that I gave, stuff like that. Okay, so that's my channel, which you can find with that address. And if you can't, then it's just very simple. Like if you go to YouTube General and you just type in my handle, as they say, just MWI, my initials, plus Dunn, and search for me, and I should come up. Yeah, there we go. Matthew Dunn channel. Doesn't seem to be. I hate that Google now does not hide your name. I think that's so offensive that they don't allow you to post anonymously and whatever. I mean, because people, not that I have, I stand by everything that I have out there, but sometimes people write stupid posts. Sometimes it's late, they're tired, they come across something that makes them angry or something, or agitated, and they write something like you suck, exclamation point times 50, and you can't get that back sometimes. And one of the saving graces is well, at least I didn't post with my real name. It's, I don't know, some weird handle, or it's just anonymous. But now Google is forcing you to reveal yourself. So there I am, Matthew Dunn. That is me. These are my videos. In a way, I guess it will keep people safer eventually, because people then won't post stupid stuff on their Facebook page, or they'll think twice. Do I really want them to see me see pictures of my vacation to Aruba? Are they all kosher? Anyways, I'm just kidding. No need to worry, St. Peter's University. There's nothing out there that's wacko for Mr. Dunn floating around. Ow. Ooh. Got my coffee in. Ooh, I forgot to put milk in it. Hold on. I gotta pause a second. I gotta go put milk in my coffee. Just burned my tongue. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. One thing you'll learn about Mr. Dunn is that he needs his coffee. The other thing you'll learn is that Mr. Dunn is absent-minded. And, I was rushing to get to this, excited, and made my coffee and forgot to put milk in it. And in the process, burned my tongue. But that's okay. I'll just pray to, who's the patron saint of tongue ailments? I'll have to find some saint who had her tongue cut off or something like that. Anyways, we'll look for that later. Since it is an online course, I have no office. My office is the world, as they say. And so I really have no office hours. If you want to meet with me, and by meet I mean email probably, but we could also Skype if you have a Skype account. I have a Skype account that we could use if you wanted a face-to-face meeting. Excuse me, that's a possibility. Nevertheless, I would say to arrange that with me, to send me an email and say, I need to meet with you and talk with you, and we can do that. And here's a little footnote at the bottom, just thanking Dr. Maria Calisi. Some of you might already know her from having had a course with her somewhere along the line, maybe, at St. Peter's. And she is the chair of the Department of Theology. She's also an associate professor. and theology, and I just wanted to give her thanks and her proper credit for having let me look at a copy of her own syllabus, which was able to guide me, and also parts of which that I used for this syllabus, with changes because each course is different. But I still wanted to give her credit because it was not my work. I did not come up with it, and so she deserves the credit. So there, I give that to her in a footnote. Now, St. Peter's University. Here's your first little bit of information that you should know about our course. You are going to a Catholic Jesuit university. What does that mean? Well, look at the seal of this university, and you'll notice that it is drenched in religious symbolism. Not just starting with its name, St. Peter's University. Okay, the school is named after a Jew, a Jewish man named Shimon was his name. Actually, let me get my office out here so I can type for you. You'll get used to this, people. Don't worry. And yes, I would recommend taking notes on this. This will show up in the exam for the week. Hold on, the cat wants to come in, I think. Come on, Sal. Come on, Sal. Yes, come on. She wants to come in, she wants to go out. She wants to come in, she wants to go out. Crazy cat. Okay. His name was Shimon in Hebrew. That larger. You can see it. Shimon in Hebrew. Or as it's translated into Latin and then to English, and also into Greek, Simon or Simon. But Jesus, as you'll find out later in the course, I'm not going to go into it now, but later in the course, Jesus liked to give nicknames. And Jesus gave him a nickname, which when translated into English becomes Peter, which actually means a rock or stone. Okay, I forget what Shimon means. I'd have to look it up again. I'll have to look it up for later, but I think it means sand or something like that. But anyways, don't write that down yet. I'm going to have to confirm that. I'm just going off my memory, which could be wrong, as you'll find out in a few moments. So the university is dedicated to this man, St. Peter the Apostle. So he's a religious leader. He was a follower of Jesus of Nazareth. So he was a contemporary of Jesus of Nazareth. So here we have a university, an institution of education that is dedicated to the memory of this man who was a close follower and associate of Jesus of Nazareth. So right there's that religious element. It should tell you right there that it's a religious element. Okay, Universitas Sancti Petri. Okay, Caesariensis. So the University of St. Peter in New Jersey, actually, or in Jersey City, actually. Caesariensis is for Jersey. Caesariense, I should say. It's for Jersey City. That's Latin. Okay, so that's the university. And then you have all these symbols. Up here you have a crown of thorns with the letters IHS. Okay, now I had always been told that these were abbreviations for the name of Jesus. This was an abbreviation. Let me just go up here. Now the cat wants to go out. No, you're going to have to wait. That we had I, H, and S, and that these were, in fact, Greek letters that were abbreviations for the name of Jesus. Jesus, the first three letters of the name of Jesus, which in Greek would be, if we were doing Greek, which are not, but I'll do it. have to find the Greek alphabet here. So, Jesus. Alright, where we got here? We got Jesus, Eta, Sigma, Omicron, Epsilon, and Sigma. Okay. So, Jesus. If we pull it apart, the letters apart, some of you who are in Greek fraternities, or if you have been or know about them, I'm sure many of you have seen Animal House or know what it is, the movie, Greek fraternities. Let's just parse this, take it apart, and you'll see the first three letters, iota, iota, eta, and sigma. Iota, eta, and sigma make up the first three letters of Jesus. In Greek, Jesus. Jesus. And when translated into the West, the sigma becomes an S. The eta looks like an H, so that doesn't change. And if I were transliterating this into English lettering, Jesus, the line across the E, it's called a macron, is there just to indicate that it's a long E. It's Jesus, not Jesus, okay, because there is a short E in Greek. So, IHS on the up here for Jesus with a cross. Of course, Jesus was crucified. He was hung on a cross, or hanged on a cross, I should say. Or was he hung? Well, I'll have to look that up. Anyways, he was put on a cross. It's kind of like Porky the Pig. It's like, he was hung, he was hanged, he was put on a cross, in the old cartoons. And there are three nails down here. These three little symbols are nails, the nails that were used to nail Jesus to the cross. Crown of thorns that was put on his head surrounds this. So the instruments of our salvation, as one might say. Because the school is, I should say that this is the symbol, the emblem of the Order of the Society of Jesus. The Jesuits are officially called the Society of Jesus. All right, Jesus in Latin, but so it becomes Jesuits, those who are followers of Jesus. Okay, it's just a group within the Catholic Church. They're not a different religion. They're not a different Christian denomination like the Presbyterians or something. They are a group that follows a particular form of spirituality, has its own little history. Okay, and so they take the because they are the society or the company of Jesus, as they're sometimes called. They take this abbreviation of the name of Jesus. So it's a Jesuit school, founded in 1872. This is what this means, fundator. Because it is Peter, there's the symbol of the crossed keys here. Crossed keys. Crossed because, of course, that symbolism of the cross of Jesus. Keys because in a part of the Gospel of St. Matthew, Jesus promises to give the keys of the kingdom of heaven to Simon Peter the apostle. So they use the keys. And the peacock goes with the motto, in perpetuum, forever, or perpetuity. If you ever have watched the show Shark Tank, I don't know if anyone has ever watched the show Shark Tank. I love watching it. I find it interesting. It's a great indictment of capitalism. But but anyways, I digress. But I still like the show, you know. It gives you real insight into how really rich people think. You know, they don't think like the rest of us. Who was it who said that? There was an author. Um, I think it was an Irish author. I can see him, but I can't think of his name. Who said, you know, the rich are not the same as you and I. Yeah, it's true. Um, but anywho, in perpetuum, you know, if you watch that show Shark Tank, you might hear some of the investors, the sharks, and oftentimes you hear it from Mr. Wonderful Kevin O'Leary because he always wants a royalty and perpetuity. You know, he'll say, you know, I'll give you the $300,000, but here's what I want. I want $5 off of everything you sell until I get my money back. And when I get my money back, that drops to a royalty in perpetuity of $250. Okay? Now you know what he means. He means forever. For forever, you know, until the sun explodes, basically, you know. So a billion years from now, if planet Earth is still here and that company is still pumping out product, you know, Kevin O'Leary won't be around, but, you know, and the people who made this product won't be around, but their relatives will be, and the estate had better be given that royalty to the estate of Kevin O'Leary in perpetuity. That's what it means. So in perpetuum, forever. Why would that be the motto, you know, underneath? Well, I mean, I think the indication of a peacock helps because if I remember in the ancient world, the peacock was a symbol of immortality, you know, of undying. I don't know why, but I'm going to find out. You know why? Because it's an online course and I can show you. Let's see here. Peacock. Beautiful bird. Oh, look at that plumage. Look at that. Okay. I don't need to know about evolution and the feathers and all that. I just want to know cultural significance. Yes. Vocalization. Redundant. Blah, 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 blah. No. Okay. Hindu culture. Well, we don't want to know that. Okay. Ancient Greeks. There we go. That will help. Ancient Greeks believed that the flesh of peafowl did not decay after death, and so it became a symbol of immortality. And that pagan symbol, interestingly enough, because the ancient Greeks were not Christians and they weren't Jews, they were pagans. Nevertheless, the symbolism of this pagan belief that peacock flesh did not decay was used as a symbol in Christianity of resurrection. Okay, resurrection. Why? Well, Jesus, you know, his flesh did not decay in the tomb. Okay, he did die, but his human flesh, he died in his humanity, and he was truly buried. But his flesh did not decay because he rose again. And if you look, there are additional interpretations here of the peacock, that symbolism that was taken over into Christianity. And oh, that's interesting. Hinduism in India, the peacock has various symbolism for them as well. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay. Well, maybe not interesting to you, but interesting to me. And you should know that because I'll probably ask you about it on the exam on Friday. Okay, so a symbol, it goes from becoming a pagan symbol, having the meaning transformed into a symbol of one of the mysteries of Christ, the mystery of his immortality, his foreverness, that his human flesh was so united with his divinity and it rose from the dead with his divinity. His flesh rose from the dead with his divinity. So the peacock is an apt symbol for that. And that's all I want to say about the seal. Okay, so that's the institution that you're at. Hence, you're taking a course specifically on Christianity. And I give you the description that's found in the catalog. I don't know who writes these descriptions. I know I don't write them. And sometimes the descriptions can be kind of very general and non-specific, and sometimes the descriptions can be rather specific to the point of, you're like, who wrote this? This person, has an axe to grind. They want me to teach the course in a certain way, and no. We're given pretty general latitude. And as you can see from this definition, the New Testament, we go from the New Testament to the living tradition of the church, reflected by modern thinkers and bears on the issues of our time. Okay, well, whatever. Well, what does that mean? That means kind of like what I want it to mean, to be honest with you. It's a discussion of Christianity, talking about the Bible, the New Testament, talking about tradition, the teachings of the church, what the Catholic Church and Christianity believe, and how these relate to, say, issues of our time. And I will try to do that frequently through the course by giving you videos to watch of contemporary people and thinkers and their views on Christianity, and stuff from movies and stuff like that will hopefully make you think about your own faith, your own beliefs. So that's how I intend to do that, bring it into Christian beliefs into conversation with, say, modern beliefs, the new atheism, science and religion, stuff like that. That's not going to be my main focus, though. It's not going to be my main focus. It's not a science and religion course, nor is it a course on atheism in the church. My main focus will be on getting the teachings out there, the information out there, okay? Because I can guarantee you this. I can guarantee many of you this. You may have been baptized in the Catholic Church. You may have an uncle who's a priest, or an aunt who's a sister somewhere. But I will bet you, if you are like most modern Catholics, a lot of the stuff that I will be talking about and hoping to teach you will be quite unfamiliar. And you'll be asking yourself, well, why didn't they teach us this in Catholic high school or CCD? Why didn't I hear about this from my priest on Sundays? And, well, I don't know. Some of it's not appropriate for preaching on a Sunday, because church is not a university. I don't know if you went to Catholic school for 12 years. I don't know what you were doing during that time. You could have been sleeping in class. You could have been, Joe Nerd taking a lot of notes. I don't know. You could have had good teachers who cared. You could have had bad teachers who just, wanted to read from the textbook and get through the class each day. I don't know. Okay? All I know is that you're here with me now, and I'm going to try to explain things as best I can to make sure that everyone's on the same page. But, some of you, okay, might at some point in time get scared, or worried. You might say to yourself, well, why don't I know this? I'm Catholic. Shouldn't I know this? Well, yeah, you should know this, or should have known this. But, whatever. Look at it this way. You're here now, and now you're going to know it. And what you do with that after this course is your business. You know it for the course to get a grade and pass it, or you know it for the course to pass the course, and you also know it for life, for your life as a Catholic. For those of you who are not of the Catholic faith, a lot of this will probably be very unfamiliar to you, because you're basically learning a foreign religion. You're learning something that, it's not like chemistry or something, You can go to school in India, or you can go to school in Nigeria, or you can go to school in, where else? You can go to school, well, where else? There are a lot of where else, but, you know what I'm talking about. You can go to school in, say, Egypt, and you can study chemistry. You can still come over here to St. Peter's University, and you could major in chemistry, and you'd be fine because you would understand the basic principles. They're the same, and you would know what to do and know what people are talking about. Religion is different. Religion, it's kind of like, it's history in a way. If you grew up in Canada, or if I grew up here in America and decided I wanted to become let's say I wanted to stay up in Canada while I was up there and wanted to become a Canadian citizen, well, I would have had to have taken classes on Canadian history, and just like people have to take classes on American history and government, I would have had to taken classes, and a lot of it would have been unfamiliar to me. The battle on the plain of Abraham. What's that all about? Benedict Arnold is not a traitor. Not for the Canadians. Benedict Arnold is not seen so negatively up in Canada. He was a loyalist. Anyways, so if you are not a Christian or a Catholic, and you're freaking out because, Mr. Dunn, I'm not a Catholic and I don't know these things. Well, okay, but it's like any other academic discipline. I'm not a biologist, or to continue my chemistry analogy. I'm not a chemist, but if I had to take a course in chemistry at school, at my university, I would just have to learn what I had to learn to pass the course, even if it were very unfamiliar to me. Okay, so that's all I can say. I mean, the fact that, well, anyways, that's all I have to say. You just have to kind of knuckle down and learn maybe a little bit harder than some other people. But you might find, let's say, I don't know, you're coming from an Islamic background, or you were raised Muslim. Whether you're practicing or not is none of my business. But let's say you were raised in an Islamic family, okay? And so you know something about Jesus and the prophets, but you know it from a Muslim point of view, an Islamic point of view. You don't know it from a Christian point of view. So a lot of it would be unfamiliar to you. Well, believe me, you are not alone. I can guarantee you that some of your Catholic and Christian confreres, some of your fellow students, are just as in the weeds, as they say, as you might be. Okay? Believe me. I know Catholic education in the modern era, and that's one thing I can almost guarantee you. A Muslim student will probably have as much trouble explaining the Blessed Trinity to me as a Catholic student who went to Catholic school for 12 years, which kind of tells you what kind of shape the Catholic Church is in these days. But I'm not going to start preaching. I'll just tell you. So, what are the textbooks for the course? These are all I require: Bible and a catechism. There are books out there that could be used as textbooks, but in my opinion, why? What's the point? I'm just going to be saying the same stuff in a lot of ways. So why have you spend money on a textbook by someone that you don't really need, and frankly that I don't want to read, because I'd have to read the book too, I'd have to become acquainted with it, and I frankly don't want to do that. But two things that excuse me, I am acquainted with are the sacred scriptures and the catechism. The sacred scriptures, I would recommend that you get the this version, the New American Bible Revised Edition, which is put out under the auspices of the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops. It should be available from the bookstore. I put in a book order many weeks ago, and hopefully it's there. Okay. If not, it's online. You can find it online, but to have your own copy would probably be ideal. The same thing with the Catechism. You can find it online, but I find that having a nice little handy-dandy Catechism book in your hand is easier to read from, especially if you have questions. Let's say, God forbid, you might actually want to read beyond what I have you read for the week. You might have a question about divorce. You might have a question about indulgences. You might have a question about angels or something like that. And, with the Catechism, you can go off on your own. You don't need me. Okay? But you do want the second edition of the Catechism. The first edition was put out in the 90s, and then within a few years, couple years or something like that, they put out a revised edition, the second edition, and that's the one you want. And this is the one you want. I saw a student of mine, not at St. Peter's. I was adjuncting at another university, and a student of mine had found it online, in fact, and I saw it and I was like, wow, this is really great, because the Catechism I was using at the time was one that I had bought from Ireland. I was in school in Ireland when I was a bachelor. In my undergrad years, I did a study abroad in Ireland, and that's when the Catechism came out, and I got it through the local bookstore, and it was this huge, heavy, green colored thing, a big, nice green cover, soft cover, so it was easy to use, and it was nice, and I used it for many, many years, and it was nice, but it was, big, it was just cumbersome. And then I saw that the student got this one, and it was, oh, that's great. So I recommend this one. It's small, easy to use, and I'll be showing you how to use it in a moment. Actually, I won't be. I do have a lecture on that, which I'll be assigning to you later, I should say. And readings as might be assigned by the instructor. I don't know. As the weeks go by, I might locate on my computer a PDF of some talk by the Pope or something that I think, hey, that might be a good thing for them to read during the week and maybe comment on. I don't hope to overweigh you with readings. Let me just be clear about that. No, I don't expect to do that. But I will say, I don't want to say that I won't offer readings that will be covered in a lecture or will be covered on an exam, so you should be aware of that. Okay? Now, I mentioned these are online, so if you go online, I already have them tabbed or bookmarked. So, for example, if you go to the website of the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops, the USCCB, well, that doesn't look very good. Well, whatever. Why is it go to default? Anywho, they have the New American Bible Revised Edition online. So, Second Maccabees. It's a Catholic Bible, people. Remember, Second Maccabees, chapter 1. There we go. The Jews in Jerusalem and in the land of Judea send greetings to their kindred, the Jews in Egypt, and wish them true peace. So the letter, Second Maccabees, the second book of the Maccabees, opens with the reproduction of a letter from one group of Jews to another group of Jews. Okay, so there you can look. If you're in a pinch, you don't have your Bible with you, or if you say to yourself, you want to say to yourself, hey, I don't really want to spend money on a Bible, my mom might think that I'm going to become a Christian, if I'm not, I don't want to scare her, whatever. And the Catechism also, I know I have a bookmark, but do I have a bookmark here? No, apparently not. But whatever. Catechism of the Catholic Church from this church down in Mississippi, St. Charles Borromeo Catholic Church. They got permission to put it all online, and here it is. You know, it's beautiful. You can also find it on the Vatican's website, but not anywhere near as helpful as this. Now, how do you use the catechism? The paragraph numbers, as you can see on the side here. These are not page numbers, these are paragraph numbers. And I explained that in another lecture, another video, so I'm not going to do it here. See, if you go to the Vatican, it's a little bit less helpful because you have to know where to look. They don't make it very easy for you. So you go on here. Yes, there's the Pope. All sorts of stuff related to the Pope. The whole history of the popes. You have to go down all the way here to these little type here, down here, resource library. And in there you'll find the catechism in English. Actually, you won't find it in English. You'll have this link. And then there are all other languages. Malagasy. What the heck is Malagasy? You know where Malagasy is? It's like the language of Madagascar. The island of Madagascar off of Africa. Okay. Latvia. You know where Latvia is? It's by Russia. It's this tiny country by Russia. So, I mean, Chinese I can understand. Chinese is like the most spoken language on the planet. English, French, yes, tens of millions. In the case of English, hundreds of millions. So I can understand that. Spanish, yeah. Malagasy? Madagascar? I mean, what did they have? Some priest, from Madagascar, like hanging around the Vatican one day who thought, well, I guess I'll just translate the catechism into Malagasy. Yeah, it's like, okay. Okay, well, anyways. Click on that, and I'll take you to this. Now, you can see why it's not very helpful, or not as helpful. No numbers. First of all, it's small, so you have to increase the font size. I mean, you go blind trying to read it. And, yeah, there are no paragraph numbers. So you gotta just, like, peck and paw, peck around like a bird at seeds trying to find something. So I, just clicked on something and, oh, okay, here we are, 1450. Paragraph 1450. Well, that's nice. Well, what if I didn't want 1450? What if I was looking for 2000? We'll go down a little bit. Oh, 1539. Oh, that's nice. Nope, not there yet. So I would not recommend using this version. The Catechism at St. Charles Borromeo is much easier on the eyes and the brain. So you got the paragraph numbers. I wanted paragraph 2000, did I say? Go all the way down, all the way down. There we are. Boom. There we are, 2000. Sanctifying grace, blah, 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 blah. All right. The main objective of the course is to aid the Lord God in the salvation of our souls. Yes, I believe that. I'm not going to lie to you. I believe that we are all on this planet for a reason. That reason was given to us by our Creator. That ultimately the reason is for all of us to be in a relationship with His Son, our Lord Jesus Christ, and to find salvation in Him and through His church, or through baptism, and to be with God forever in happiness. Now, not everyone may achieve that, but, if I can help someone along the way, if you can help me along the way to that, then, I want to help in that. The next objective, I take a quotation here from a statement by a meeting of the Catholic Church, which occurred in the 1960s, Second Vatican Council. I might mention that again in the course, I don't know. 1962 to 65. Okay, so from 1962 to 65 AD, I'll talk about AD sometime in the future. Anno Domini. Okay, but 50 years ago, the Catholic Church held this worldwide council in Vatican City, which is located within the larger city of Rome. So Vatican City, Rome, you can say the same thing, but technically it was in Vatican City. And they produced statements, and one of those statements was on Christian education, which is called Gravissimum Educationis. And I just give you a quotation from that, which gives a nice summary of how the Catholic Church views her role in education, especially higher education, especially in higher education that deals with the sacred sciences, as it says, quote unquote, which would be the study of theology, of the Bible, of religion, those things that deal with the sacred, God, the divine, the spiritual realm, stuff like that, however you want to phrase it. And especially the section that says that part of Christian education is to promote and foster dialogue with other Christians and non-Christians. Okay? So, as I said, if you are not a Catholic, if you are not a Christian, you should feel perfectly comfortable taking this course. Okay? This is not a conversion course where I'm trying to convert you. Okay? So don't be afraid of that. As I said, to help God in our salvation. For some people, the journey towards salvation might not include, for whatever reason, ever believing in Jesus as God, as the Son of God and the Messiah and Savior of the world. I understand that. But I'm not God, so I don't judge that. I have to worry about myself. Okay, but I in my conscience will do what I feel I need to do to get information out there. And so it is a university course, so we will be studying what we believe. Okay, this is not a catechism course. I could just give you the catechism and say, okay, read the catechism and then test you on it. Okay, I will give you readings from the catechism and I will test you on them, but I want thought, and the church wants thought. Okay, and part of the dialogue, remember, this word dialogue means talking towards each other, or also through each other, but across to each other. Okay, where it's not a one-way conversation. Okay, so you should feel perfectly safe, I guess is the catchword these days, but you should feel perfectly free and safe and comfortable to say whatever you want to me. Okay, you're not going to offend me. Okay, I love talking to people who don't believe some of the things I believe in, even if they don't believe in them strongly. A Muslim might say, I reject the idea of the Trinity. God doesn't have a son. That's impossible for God to have a child. So I understand that. Or someone taking the course might be an atheist and say, these are all fairy tales, Mr. Dunn, that I just have to learn to get through St. Peter's, But these to me are all legends, and every culture has its legends. Okay, I know I'm grading you. Okay, let's put that out there. I know I'm grading you. You know I'm grading you. Okay? But I got better things to do than to harm people through their grades because they don't agree with me. Now, I don't know about other professors you might have dealt with, where yes, you might have had to negotiate that, where if the professor didn't like you personally or didn't like your opinions, he or she was harder on you or harsher. That's not me. You don't have to believe me, but I'm telling you, I would be a really sad man if I got my jollies, failing people or giving them lower grades because, she says she doesn't believe in the Trinity, Oh, C plus, Come on. No. you get the grade that you earn, and the course is designed for that. So there isn't. I don't want questions of, you know, um, at the instructor's discretion. Stuff like class participation, and where it comes down to what I think, what I feel about how you've done. No, I want it pretty clear that if you got an 80 or something, then that's a B. You know what you're getting, or something like that. Here's a list of student outcomes. Just because these are the days where, like, the Middle States Association and the people who accredit universities and colleges are all into well, what can the person do with the knowledge that they're getting from this course? Okay, well, you know what? It's kind of like philosophy. In philosophy, if I were a philosophy professor, I'd be like, well, I don't know. We talk about issues like truth and knowledge and stuff. How do I show that? Can I give you a laboratory and ask you to prove truth? Set up an experiment to prove truth? Same thing with, like, the Blessed Trinity. I don't know how to, and that's kind of how the Middle States people think. They think very um, practically and physicalistically, in a way, I guess is the word. I'm looking for another word, but that's all I can come up with. What practical value is this course adding? You know, well, I don't know. I don't know what practical value believing in the Trinity does for you, other than the fact that you would then believe in Jesus and his teachings or whatever. But I don't know how to place the Trinity in a laboratory and give you. I don't know what experiments I could give you to try and prove that God is both one and three. He's both one. He's one God in three persons. Whatever. So, nevertheless, we put this here to try and explain some of the practicalities of what you will be able to do, what you will know, should know, once you come out of this course. The grade scale you can find in the student catalog, but the numbering for the grade scale is based on what other professors are doing in the department. Okay, so there's a general scheme that departments come up with for how they grade, or the professors come up with, and I'm just following that. So I just want you to know that I'd not pulled this out of my hat. If you look at a syllabus from Dr. Khaleesi, you'll see that it's the same grade scale. Okay. Course structure and performance. Oh, there's a little mistake, but whatever. Keeps me humble. Blackboard will not be used for this course. Yay! Okay, so I've already gotten an email from somebody who shall remain nameless, asking, what's on Blackboard? I don't see anything on Blackboard. I want to make sure I haven't missed anything. Okay, calm down. If you've gone on Blackboard and you've seen nothing for this course, that is precisely what you ought to see. Nothing. I will not use Blackboard. I do not use Blackboard. Why? Well, I'm not going to tell you all the reasons because I might get into trouble. There's some kind of, I don't know. I just don't. For some reason, people have a soft spot for Blackboard in the administration, and I don't want to get people angry by dissing Blackboard. But I will diss it. I hate it. And I find that it wastes my time more than it helps me get my work done. So I find that by just using other technologies like screencast and YouTube and audio files, or email, that I am much better able to get the work out there and be productive. So all of our teaching encounters and communications will take place either through the email system for St. Peter's or through YouTube. Okay, and that's really all you need. So don't worry about Blackboard. You ain't missing nothing. Anything that I want you to have, I'll send to you directly through an email. Okay, like this. I'm sending you this link. I sent you the link for this talk, and I also sent you a copy of the syllabus. So there you go. And you have it, and I know you have it. So this is how the course is going to go. Dun dun dun. I want to hopefully you can see that it's not too small, but I wanted to get it all within. Maybe I'll see there. Okay, good. There we go. So this is how the course is going to go, and it's really quite simple. On Monday of each of the weeks, I will send you an email outlining the topic for the week. So, for example, in a week or two, we'll talk about Jesus. We'll start talking about Jesus. We'll start talking about the story of Jesus, his teachings, who was he, etc. and so forth. There's a lot to talk about there, but anyways. So when we start talking about Jesus, I'll send you out the email. This week we're going to talk about this aspect of Jesus, okay? And that's the topic, and I'll give you any readings or assignments for that week. Well, anyways, I'll tell you that. So I'll give you, I don't know, by then I hopefully should have a YouTube lecture uploaded for you to watch, but if not, I will. Definitely there will be readings from the Catechism of the Catholic Church. Definitely there will be readings from the Bible. So those are two things you should expect, because this is heavily oriented towards the Bible and the Catechism for informational purposes. You need to know the story of Jesus, for example, to understand who he is. I could have you watch a movie, but you really should go to the horse's mouth, which is the story of Jesus in the Bible, the Gospels. So each Monday, sometime in the morning hours, before 12 noon or by 12 noon, you should expect to receive an email from me. If there are any papers or assignments that are due that week, I'll also give you, the reading, or not the reading, but the questions I want addressed in the paper. Maybe, because some stuff I might have you, well, I don't want to say that because I don't want to, but it might be that I might say, well, in the next day or so, I'll upload something to YouTube that I want you to watch, and that's what the paper is going to be on. Okay, and that brings us to our next thing. During the week, and by week I define this from Monday through Thursday. I want Fridays open, as you'll see why in a moment. Mondays through Thursdays, you should expect to receive at least one video lecture, probably more, on material related to the topic. Okay? I don't want to, it gets, believe it or not, it gets tiresome to just sit and talk. Okay? At least for me. And I need a break. Okay? So I like to break things up. Notice I didn't say break things, I said break things up. Okay? So let's go back to Jesus. I might start out with a lecture on, basic historical information we can know about Jesus. Who is Jesus? When did he live? His name, where he was from. And, that might take an hour or so. And then I might, whatever, upload that to YouTube and be off. And then later I might come out with a lecture. Okay, let's talk about some of Jesus' teaching, or let's talk about the story of Jesus. How does it go? What did Jesus do? What can we agree on seems to be the basic story. You see what I'm saying? I don't want to hit it all. I don't want to hit you with like a 5 or 6 hour lecture. Excuse me. I would much rather break it up. Okay? So you have to be checking your emails, okay? Because I'll send you the link from YouTube. All of this will be uploaded to YouTube. It's just too big for email. So I tell you what a lecture might be, okay? So you can look at that, right? But you should expect to receive these things. On Friday of each week, and this is why Fridays are left open, you will receive an exam through the email system. I'll send you an email in which has been pasted an exam, which will be 40 questions, 1 point per question, 40 questions on everything from the past week that you have hopefully learned. Okay, everything is fair game. The lectures, the readings. It's so you have to do them. If you don't do, and I'll be honest with you, you might think, oh, that's not too bad. I could sit there with my notebook and with my Bible and just go, okay, that's fine. But wait until you see my exams, because I know this, even though I hope you would take the test without notes to really test what you know. But I'm not there to control you. But nevertheless, I'm going to ask very tough questions. Okay, so I'm going to test you on your knowledge of the material that was covered every Friday. So you should expect that every week. I'll mark it and I'll grade it and I'll send it back to you. And I'll also send the correct answers eventually. What will be on the exam? Well, it could be any number of things. I try to cover all bases here, but I'll be honest with you, it's probably just going to be multiple choice and true false and matching. Those three things. And matching is kind of just a variation on the multiple choice. Now you might think to yourself, oh, that's easy. Multiple choice, A, B, C, D, that's easy, well, maybe it's not so easy as you might think. Okay, it is easy to a certain extent, but there are ways to make it hard. Okay, and I don't have to be that tricksy to do it. Okay, all I have to do is be very specific about the information you read to kind of weed out those who didn't do the readings carefully. True false always gets people. True false is the killer, because people always overthink true false. Always. No matter how many times I tell my students, do not overthink it. It's either all true. If there's something that's not true, then it's false. Or at least you should have a feeling in your gut that it's false. Doesn't matter. People always overthink stuff because they start thinking, well, yeah, but he told us this in class, but he told us that. Okay, that's how I get you, I try to ask very specific true-false questions and, just to beware, beware about that. Yes, I do allow you to use your notes, okay? Because I feel like your notes are an aid, okay? Hopefully they will be an aid to you after the course and you'll keep your notes. But if you want to throw your notes into the thresher or into recycling, what am I going to do, okay? Just between you and me, I still have all my notes from college packed away, but I still have them. One of these days, I keep telling myself I'm going to sit down and transcribe them to the computer, which I will do probably when I'm old and gray and they won't be useful to me. I don't know. Anyways, nevertheless, I could live in hope, can't I? But what would be helpful is if I could talk the notes into my computer, but problem is that, the voice recognition on Windows is still not terrific. So, whatever. The rest of this I don't think I need to say. Everything's fair game. I can tell you how much the quiz will be worth. Okay, on the second, third, and fourth weeks, there will be a reaction paper, and it's a paper, but it literally is a paper. 1 page is what I want, and I'll talk about that. I give you an outline of how to do it at the end of this syllabus, which I'll point out not now. Okay, so I'll give you the weeks of when these are due, a reaction paper on some topic or question. Okay, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't like grading papers. People can't write. They can't write coherently. I'm not an English teacher, but I find that most of my time is trying to kind of correct the grammar and the spelling that really should have been taught throughout grade school and reinforced in high school, and it hasn't been. There's nothing I can do about that, people. I mean, all I can do is really, 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 really suggest that you buy a handy English grammar book, a dictionary, and a thesaurus, and that you have those things in your collection. And when you aren't sure how to spell something, you look it up. When you aren't sure what a word means, you look it up. When you want to say something is good, but you don't want to, or nice, but you don't want to say good or nice, you look it up in your thesaurus. If you can't remember whether you're supposed to say or put S apostrophe or apostrophe S for the possessive case, look it up. That's all you can do, people. That's how you learn. And it's boring, and it can be excruciatingly boring, but I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you. Okay? I don't know what to tell you. I cannot change the education were supposed to have received while growing up. I don't know if the teachers sucked, the school sucked. I don't know if you slept through class. I don't know what kind of student you were. You just didn't get it. I don't know. I don't know. I wasn't there. All I know is that consistently, the papers I receive suck. People can't write. They can't construct a paragraph. They don't know grammar. Okay? People want to write the way they talk on the street, which is mostly wrong. Okay? People don't understand the difference between an academic paper for which you're getting a grade and just writing a note to a friend on your phone. All right? Enough said on that. The reaction paper will be worth 40 points. I am a hard grader when it comes to this. When it comes to this, I'm a hard grader. I'll tell you up front. It will be very hard for people to get an A on the reaction paper. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it will be hard. It will be hard. And I just say that because I already know what's coming. I already know what I'm going to get in my email from people. So if you have difficulty writing, and you know you have difficulty writing, write a first draft as best you can and have somebody look at it. If you have a teenager in the house or some, nephew or son or daughter or someone who's a real nerdlinger and knows this kind of stuff other than video games, pass it by and say, could you just look at this for a few minutes? Correct my grammar. Tell me if it makes sense to you. If it doesn't make sense to your 17-year-old son, then it's probably not going to make sense to me either, or to your husband, or to your wife. So use other people, ask them for their opinions, because one of the main virtues of education, people, believe it or not, you might not know this from PhDs, but one of the biggest virtues that you should cultivate in education is, and I'll test you on this, I'm going to ask you on this on the exam on Friday. What is this virtue? It's not the only virtue, but it's a big one. Humility. Humility. Let's see if I can animate it. Preferences, view, review. Animations? No, I can't. Page layout. Well, anyways. Humility. 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 Does humility mean? It means that you know that you don't always know. Okay? I can be mistaken for a pompous, arrogant jerk. I can. I can be. At least that's what my family tells me. Thanks, Ma. Anyways, um, why can't I? Because I know a lot. I know a lot. I mean, that's just honest. I know a lot. I've done a lot of reading. I have almost an insatiable curiosity about our world and what's going on, and not just junk. I mean, I could care less what Taylor Swift is wearing or what she's doing. Up until maybe a year ago, I had no idea who Taylor Swift was. Thank God. You know, until somebody told me, I thought Channing Tatum was a woman. I didn't, and, I had no idea who Channing Tatum was or what movies he had been in or what. Now I know, but I could care less. I mean, news, stuff that's going on in our world, science, history, all this stuff. I just find it interesting, and the internet is a fantastic, fantastic place to find information. Okay, so I know things. I don't try to hold it over people's heads and ha ha ha, I know stuff. But I know things. Okay, I try not to be wrong. Okay, that doesn't mean I lack humility. I try to be humble as well and to know that I don't know. All right. Why do I try not to be wrong? Well, for the very simple fact that you are paying money to St. Peter's University, which is in turn paying me a salary, okay, to teach you. Okay, so if I'm just sitting here bloviating and a lot of my stuff is wrong, well, then, that's like defrauding you. You're not getting an education. I should know what I'm talking about. And if I don't know what I'm talking about, then I've got to take the time to find out if I'm wrong. Okay? And that takes humility. You've got to be able to say to your students, you know what? I don't know anything about this. This is what I've heard, but I could be totally wrong about it. And, and part of the process is I'll go on Wikipedia with you during a lecture and look something up. If I forget a date, or forget where something is, where it's located, and not that Wikipedia is the end all and be all. Wikipedia can be wrong too, but I'm just saying that humility, be able to give your paper to somebody and say, you might know more than I do to help me out to write a better paper. That does not mean the person should write the paper for you. Let me make very sure that you understand this. You do your own work. Okay? That does not mean that, the person sits down and starts writing out your work for you. I'm talking about your grammar, your spelling, stuff like that. Your thought process, which might not make sense. Okay? But the work should be 100% your own. Okay, here are deadlines and due dates. I send you the exam on Friday. I expect it back later in the day. You have until midnight to get it back to me. The reaction paper is sent, or the topic is sent to you beginning of the week. I expect to have it by midnight on Saturday of that week. Not then the week after, not 2 weeks later, that week. Because I've got 20 students in this course, and even though I'm only asking you to write one page, that's still 20 pages that I have to read through and grade. And believe me, the grammar and spelling will be such, and the ideas will be such that it will take forever. But anyways, I think I've beat that horse to death. I give you just a table here to help you see when things are due. I'm also looking at little mistakes that have to be rectified before I send this out to you. Deadlines will be strictly followed. You shouldn't expect to receive an extension for any reason. If you don't submit it by the deadline, I reserve my right not to accept it. Okay? If I do accept it, I reserve my right to deduct points, which I might not do either. But as I try to warn you, don't push it. Okay, don't push your luck. Don't assume that, well, Mr. Dunn will be a nice guy about it, that I will be. Don't assume that at all. Okay, especially if a person has a track record of handing assignments in late. One assignment, okay. Two assignments, I might say no, I won't accept the next one if it's late. Sorry. But Mr. Dunn, you accepted the first one. Yeah, I did. I was being nice, but you gotta learn. Okay. Grading criteria just breaks down the point structure. 40 points for each exam, 40 points for each paper. That comes out to 360 points. So whatever points you earn from these exams and papers are simply divided by the total amount you could have earned, and that's how you get your grade. Okay, disability statement. If you have a particular disability, let me be clear about this. You have to self-identify to the university, not to me. You can to me, and I'll work with you about it. But if you have some sort of disability that's going to impede your learning through this online course, you need to, as soon as possible, fill out a form or something, but you have to tell the disabilities office at the university. Okay, and I give you the internet address for that office. Okay, you have to self-identify, and then once you do, and they determine that yes, it is a disability, okay, then what accommodations can be made for you, and then they will tell me what's going on. Okay, this is just information I thought would be helpful if this sort of problem should happen to arise. Shouldn't, I hope not. But if you have a grade dispute, if you have a grievance against me, okay, I give you the information from the catalog about that. If I have a grievance against you, certain violations, if I find out that you cheated, that you plagiarized, this is what will happen. You'll basically get a 0 on the test if you cheated, but I don't know how you could cheat since I'm letting you use your notes. I guess cheating in this case would be if you got somebody else's notes that were not your own. That would be considered cheating. Plagiarism is copying other people's work and acting like you did it, putting your name on it. Okay? You do that on a reaction paper, you get a 0. Do that on a test, a 0. And people know what plagiarism is. I mean, I get, sometimes people will say to me, yeah, but Mr. Dunn, don't you have to do research? Don't you have to cite sources and stuff? So if I'm just doing research on the internet and I copy and paste something and it ends up in my paper, that's not plagiarism. Well, yeah, it is. If you don't tell me that you did it. Okay, let's say, you're on a blog written by Joe Blow, and he says something or writes something that you find is interesting that could help. Not that blogs are that helpful, but okay, let's say it's a legitimate blog. It's this guy writes for the New York Times or something. It's an official blog for the New York Times, and you want to quote from him. Okay, well, tell me, Joe Blow, his blog, the date when it was posted, but you have to indicate to me that I didn't get this out of my head. And people know what plagiarism is. In music, you call it sampling. Okay? Like when you have, some pop star who uses someone else's music from 20 years ago and thinks nobody is going to notice, and then gets sued. But I just sampled. I just used a riff from a guitar riff. Well, yeah, but you didn't come up with that guitar riff, so pay me my royalty. So you get sued. Or let's say you buy a picture from you buy a painting which is supposedly, it's a Paxton. Those of you who watch Frasier know this reference, but it's a Paxton. It's a Paxton. By this famous artist Paxton, and you find out that it's wrong. Someone just, copied or just did a painting and then just copied the signature on there, so they could get more money for it. We call that a forgery. A forgery. When you forge someone else's stuff by copying it down, When you sample another person's work and act like it's your own, in academia, we have a word for that. It's plagiarism. In the music industry, rappers call it sampling. In the arts, they call it forgery. I don't know what they call it in literature. It wouldn't be forgery. What would we call plagiarism as well? The English department would call it plagiarism as well. Um, you know, if you don't give credit, if you don't give a royalty, it's essentially that. Okay? That's plagiarism. And believe me, if someone stole your idea, you would know what plagiarism is. Okay? If someone was going around, if someone somehow got your file for your reaction paper and just deleted your name on it and put his or her name on it and handed it in to me, and you found out later that, hey, that's exactly like mine. The guy ripped off my paper and put it in as his own. Well then, hello to plagiarism. You know exactly what it is then, which I find that people do until they plagiarize. Then all of a sudden it's like, Mr. Dunn, I don't know what plagiarism is. Don't we have to do research? Yeah, okay, yeah. Some further thoughts. Online courses are not as easy as you might have thought. If you think that, okay, I'll just do an online course, I don't have to go to a classroom, I can kind of, do stuff at my own pace. Well, that's both a blessing and a curse, There are some people who want to get stuff done, quickly, by quickly I mean like by Tuesday of that week, so they have the rest of the week free. But my experience is that a lot of people kind of lollygag along, which is fine. You can do it at your own pace. I mean, some people want to save everything to the end of the week. Some people want to spread it out during the week. That's one of the benefits and blessings of an online course, because you don't have to show up at a regimented time period, It's also one of the curses. You have to keep on yourself to get the work done, okay? And I know that you're not lazy people. Let me say this up front. I'm not in any way implying or meaning to imply that anyone is lazy or lackadaisical or procrastinatory. No. I believe from what I understand from other students I've had, that the main reasons that people kind of get behind is because people are working. They're working full-time jobs. They're not only working, but they also have families that they're raising. Okay? So they have both duties. And I can understand that at the end of the day, after, you've gotten home from work, you've done all the stuff you need to do, kids are settled down, they're doing what they're doing, and you have some free time, it might be 9 or 10 o'clock at night. The last thing you want to do is to sit in front of a computer and listen to me for 2 hours. Talk about something that probably, in all honesty, you're bored to tears by. Okay? Hey, humility. I understand. Okay? I understand that. I can understand that you can try to do it and you fall asleep. I understand. I understand. I don't want this course to be a burden, but on the other hand, I have standards for myself, and I know that the department has standards for me, and if they think, if I'm just a cream puff who's giving out A's and not really doing anything, then people at St. Peter's might start asking, well, what are we paying him money for? Okay, for this course. So if you think that it's going to be significantly easier, you may find out that it may not be. It may not be. Okay? I do completely sympathize with your sufferings, the sufferings that some people might be going through, but you just have to get through the course. You signed up for it. So You have to get through the course. The course is not as long as you might think. Okay? It's not a long course. You might think, oh, month and a half, No, a month and a half is kind of like right around the corner. Like in 2 weeks, we'll be halfway through the course already. So believe me, things will go relatively quickly, especially if you have other duties. If you're, have a family or a job, you'll find out that, geez, 3 days has already gone by and I haven't done anything for this week, and I've only got Thursday before it's Friday for the exam, and there's a reaction paper due on Saturday, and I haven't even watched any of the videos, and you can get behind. If you signed up for this course, an online course, you should know how to use a computer and the internet. Okay? Mr. Dunn, yes, Mr. Dunn is a nice guy. I'm smiling now. I try to be a nice guy. But I've got to be honest with you. I am not a computer tech. This is not an information technology course. Okay? I personally do not have the time. If I do have the time, I'll try to help you out with something. But if your computer's not working, if a file's not uploading for some reason to your email, if you can't figure out why my computer will not download your attachment, whatever, I hate to be coarse about it, but it's not my fault. That's not my problem. That's not why I'm here. Okay? I'll try to help you as best I can. But you should, by signing on to an online course, you're kind of admitting that you have the tools to take that course. So presumably, you know how to use email. You know the difference between a PDF and a document file. Okay? You know how to attach a file or download something. You know how to get on YouTube. You know how to search for stuff on the internet. Okay? You shouldn't need to ask me or tell me, geez, Mr. Dunn, I'm really not that good with computers, so bear with me. No? I'm sorry. I'm not going to bear with you. You signed onto an online course. You registered for an online course. Why would you do that if you knew that you would struggle? But people do. And so I feel that I need to say this to you. I'm pulling for you. I will try to help you every step of the way to get through this course and do a good job. But I'm sorry. What I know from computers, I only know from having used them the past 20 years now. Has it been 20 years? Yeah, that's 20 years now. Okay? And believe me, I've destroyed a lot of computers along the way, making mistakes, deleting files that I shouldn't have from the computer, oh, did the operating system need that file? you know? But I am not a tech guru, a technology specialist. Okay, nothing I say to you is gold, so when it comes to computers, so you'd better know what you're doing. I have a certain knowledge and I'm comfortable with what I'm doing. But, if you register for this course, you had better have a comfort level with it as well. Because it's not my job to teach you. Okay? And if you have, I understand I get emails from people that are saying, yeah, I'm having a problem on my St. Peter's email account. I don't know what the problem is. Can't download files, can't send files. But, okay, well, okay. But I guess you got to get on the horn to information technology at St. Peter's and find out what the problem is. It's not mine. You have to pass this course, not me, so you're going to get the grade you earned. I may give extra credit assignments. You should not expect them. Okay? Having an extra credit is not a right. Okay? And sometimes students can treat it like that, like, they're bombing the course and they deserve to get an extra credit so that they can pass the course. No. You have ample opportunities in the exams and the reaction papers to do well on the course, to pass it. You shouldn't need an extra credit. I may give an extra credit out if I have the time. If I have the time, at my discretion. But you have to pass the course. You have to maintain your GPA. Okay? If you have a scholarship or something from St. Peter's that is connected or tied to your grade point average, it's your job to keep an eye on that, not mine. It's also, by the way, not my fault if you don't. I'm sorry if you don't, if you lose a scholarship, or if you can't play on the cribbage team for St. Peter's. I'll be sorry about that. It will bother me. But it's also not my fault, and I won't lose any sleep over it. Okay, you have to keep your GPA. And the final grade is final. Unless I've made some mathematical miscalculation, you should not expect to receive, please don't email me and say, but Mr. Dunn, it's only 0.38. Couldn't you, all I need is a 0.5, it's just what, 2/10 of a point or something, just bump me up to a B, No, that's lying, and I won't do that. People believe me, people do ask, can you bump up my grade? For doing nothing. They just want a grade change, And that is highly insulting to, I think, me, not just me, but the students who earned their grade. Okay, here is an outline of how I want the reaction paper. It should all be self-explanatory. And it's getting to 1.5 hours on just the syllabus. Ugh. So I'm not going to go into it. It should be self-explanatory. If you follow these guidelines, first of all, just for formatting purposes, we won't have a problem. Okay, it's 1 page long, notice. Should be prepared according to the following format. Just 1 page. You put this, your title at the top with your name, just so I know who you are. Okay, ought to cover 1 full page. So if you give me less than a full page, will that affect your grade? Yes. If you give me more than a full page, will that affect your grade? Yes. Positively? Well, maybe if what you give me is good. But if you just give me 3 pages of junk, no, it won't help you at all. Okay, I tell you how I want it sent to me as a Word document file. Just don't paste it into an email and send it to me. Send it to me as a document file. And you should know how to work with Office. If you're using Office, I'm using 2007, which is old and moldy. I need to get an update. But I'm not going to get Word 365 and have my stuff stored on the web by Microsoft. Because then you have to pay a subscription every year, a subscription fee. And if you stop paying the subscription fee, then you have no access to your files, from what I understand. And sorry, that's just not going to happen, Microsoft. I want it on my computer. So anywho, if I can't open your file format, that's not my problem. I've had people try to, if you try to send me something in, like this used to happen. I don't know if it would happen now, but some people use Apple's computers, a Macintosh or something, and they use the word processing unit for that. And it might save it in a file format that Word can't open. That's not my problem. I'll send it back to you and say, well, fix this. And if you have to send it back to me late, that might affect the grade. Okay. That's all for this. I would expect more later today. But I'm done with the syllabus. May the mercies of our great God and Savior Jesus Christ be with you. Amen.